Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable, and it is a great honor to welcome from the Roaring Twenties, Jim Roche, who is the founder and CEO of WarrCloud. Jim, welcome back to the conference.
Thank you, Ted. It's great to be back, and it's great to see you and hear what all the other speakers have to say. Fixed Ops is very important to dealers, and it's great to see the thought leaders really trying to get out in front and point the way.
Jim, you and I look like we belong in the era, and Fixed Op is where it's at, and also warranty is where it's at. So much happening, and I know you've got a lot of great information to share. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the show over to you and let you get things rolling.
Thank you, Ted, and great to be here, everyone. I'm just going to take the hat off if that's okay.
I'll do the same.
Yeah, a lot happening in warranty. It's been warranty generally is probably maybe not the most exciting topic to everyone. People tend to view it as plumbing, but it is increasingly important to the overall health of fixed ops and the dealership. So, Ted, what I've done is I've pulled together some really new and interesting data related to warranty, and I'd also like to share some of our projections for the future and what the impact is on dealers. I brought some slides to share. If it works with you, we can turn to the slides.
We can't wait. So, Jim, go ahead and let's look into your crystal ball.
Okay. Well, we'll see what it yields. Well, generally speaking, I think, my gosh, what a fantastic run dealers have had over the last few years, record profits despite the challenges. But I see choppy waters and headwinds ahead. Let's look profit center by profit center. First, starting with new vehicles. Of course, we all know about the chip shortage, which has created the inventory shortage. But the silver lining in that is that the low new vehicle supply has led to great profit margins. But what's going to happen as the chip shortage goes away, we're going to see an increase in inventory, then the corresponding increase in new vehicle sales volumes going through 2026. And unfortunately, what this is going to do is this is going to cause the older trends to reassert themselves, namely margin compression, which means decreased profits in new. Also, as we sell more new, what's going to happen is that's going to impact used. Used vehicle sales have been very strong. One of the drivers of that has been the lack of new vehicle inventory. But as new vehicle sales increase, that means it'll impact used vehicles and will offset. There'll be slightly less demand for used. And we're already seeing this. Cox Automotive data shows that used vehicle prices are on the decline. And in fact, 2022, they'll be lower than they were for 2021. F&I, which has always been something we could count on, is also under some pressure. There's an upcoming FTC regulation called the Motor Vehicle Dealer Trade Rule that is essentially going to put some handcuffs on what dealers can do and not do with F&I. Recently, Automotive Ventures noted that the public comments regarding this are almost unchallenged in the public domain. And what the FTC themselves estimate that this new compliance will cost dealers somewhere between $1.4 and $1.6 billion over a 10-year period. And then in service, currently what we've seen is a nice uptick in customer pay sales over the last couple of years. And in part, this has been driven by the fact that consumers who can't purchase new vehicles or they've been priced out of their range have to service their existing vehicles. But with an increase in new vehicle sales, this may displace the older CP-rich vehicles that are currently in dealer service lanes. So if you take a look at the last little while, overall service department growth has looked like this. Starting in 2016, which was a spike year because of Takata airbags, we saw a steady decline through the pandemic in 2020, but then a nice rebound in 2021, almost offsetting, the decline that we saw in 2020. Yet, average growth for dealers over the last 5 years in service has always only been 1.7%, and the 10-year average has been about 3.1%. So not bad, but really nothing to write home about. So here's where it gets interesting. This is the historical new vehicle sales that we've seen, as well as projections going through 2025. And you can see that we begin to come back in 23 and 24 and 25. But what that means is that as more new vehicles are on the road, as I said, those are offsetting used vehicles. I guess the good news is that the more new vehicles on the road means the more warranty covered vehicles that are on the road. So this is the history of warranty across all brands, all dealers in the United States, and then WarrCloud's projected growth in warranty through 2026. Now, if you look pre-pandemic, the 5-year growth of warranty was over 38%, about a 7.7% average, which was really, really healthy. Because of all these new vehicles that are coming on the road and the increasing amount of technology that we're seeing in vehicles, we are projecting that we will see growth through the end of 2026 of an additional 27%, 27.2% to be precise. So what that means is that, you know, that's a silver lining. We're going to be selling more cars. They're going to be more tech enabled. And that means that we'll see more warranty work at the dealership. But there are a couple of factors that are going to be a challenge as we go forward. One, interestingly, is that the W-2 employees in the dealership who have historically done the warranty processing are on the decline. You know, in 2020, about 80% of dealers had one or more W-2 paced warranty administrators, but we've seen that steadily declining as those people have left the workforce and no one has stepped in to take their place. Now, interestingly, I was discussing this with my daughter, and she kind of said, well, duh, Dad, you know, nobody in my generation wants to sit at the green screen and push warranty around. And I went, well, okay, I suppose I can see that. But nonetheless, through 2025, what we'll see is a steady decline of the human resources that have historically done warranty processing. Since we're also forecasting a increase in the demand for processing, you can see that that creates a scalability problem as we go forward. The other challenge for dealers is that warranty costs that are consuming warranty profits. Now, to date, there has been no technology available that automates a lot of warranty processing. Last year, dealers spent $1.6 billion on warranty processing. And the reason that's key is that for the typical dealership, that means that the cost of warranty processing consumes 6.1% of the value of the warranty RO, or about 12% of the gross profit from the RO, which is a huge bite if you think about it. The reason for that is pretty simple. It's because there is no automation. We rely strictly on people, and today and tomorrow, people are going to be expensive and more expensive along with the benefits, but also having warranty processing done by everybody at the dealership defocuses service leadership from providing a guest experience, which drives retention. And as I said, we're seeing that there's a lot of turnover in the position and there are few replacement candidates. So these are all the reasons why we created WarrCloud. There are 3 ways to improve service and profitability. You can increase the number of ROs, you can increase the dollars per RO, or you can reduce your expenses. Increasing the number of ROs is the most difficult to do. Increased dollars per RO is moderately difficult, and the easiest thing to do is to reduce expenses. WarrCloud plays in the moderately difficult and least difficult categories. Talk about that more in a minute. Essentially, what WarrCloud does is it extracts data from your DMS in the form of warranty repair orders. We can also accept data in other forms, faxes or scans, although nowadays that's very rare. And at the heart of the system is a library of bots that read the repair order, customer and vehicle information, 3Cs, tech notes, whatever's on there, identifies one or more of the warranty claims, automates most of the tasks associated, uploads those to the OEM website so the dealer gets paid, and then monitors just in case there is a decline of the payment. If there's a decline, we collect the claim, we adjudicate it, and resubmit it, make sure 100% of your warranty ROs get paid. The benefits of that are pretty straightforward and what you would typically expect from automation. It reduced your cost by more than 50%. Maybe given what we've just discussed, it provides a scalable solution as we go forward, and there is more demand for warranty processing and fewer people to do it. And as a byproduct, it converts what are today fixed expenses into variable costs. So conclusion of what we've just talked about is, we already know service is the driver of dealer profitability, and warranty will be a significant growth engine of service, particularly as we go forward over the next couple of years. But we are in a business where making profit is difficult and improving warranty margins are critical, and technology, automation, really is the solution for doing that. So those are the slides, Ted. Happy to have a further conversation about that, but wanted to share those. That's some new data in there, as I said, and some new projections from us.
Jim, it ties into a lot of things that we are seeing here at the Roundtable. I think you're in a great space right now because, where even just a few years ago, there may have been a little bit of pushback or hesitation about having automation involved in my warranty processing, let alone in my dealership. Now we're seeing automation becoming involved to answer the phones at the dealership. And there's relatively no pushback because of the fact that that human capital is less and less. And you know what? We're seeing it in other parts of our life. When we call the bank, when we call the airline, there's no human answering the phone there, Jim. That's all being done by AI. And now dealers are using that as the first source, if you will, to answer the phone on one ring. I see the same thing here, Jim, happening, whether it's due to attrition or just the fact that dealers become more comfortable with it. You're in a great space with WarrCloud because you've got new technology and you're up to date on what's happening out there. And with the numbers the way you showed us, this is really a no-brainer for stores.
Well, thank you for saying that, Ted. Yeah, I mean, there's actually two things that are underway. One is that, there are just less people available. We're all familiar with that. But the people that are available want to get paid more, and they want more benefits, which challenges profit margins. So, everybody is looking for ways to improve gross, and really automation is the way to do that, and also to scale as your business grows into the future.
Jim, I got to ask you, what gave you the foresight to see this some years ago where others did not, that you would have the foresight to think we need to move into this space and that you would be the champion of that, here just a few years later?
Well, it was two things. First of all, as I said in one of my books, I figure I've visited about 2,000 dealerships. And if you open enough doors, eventually you find, an office or a small closet with just stacks of paper up to the ceiling. And that's typically the warranty administrator.
Yes. Yeah.
And I had said to a very astute service leader friend, I commented on that, and he kind of said, knucklehead, that's not a stack of paper. That's a stack of uncashed checks.
Money. Yeah.
And I went, oh. And then later on, I was talking to a gentleman by the name of Scott Eisenfelder. At the time, Scott was a chief strategy officer at AutoNation.
Yes.
And he made a similar comment that, he walked around their dealerships and, warranty administration was one of the few major areas of the dealership where literally there was zero automation. So it was those two things that really got the juices flowing. And, you rarely stumble across something that someone doesn't seem to be working on. But we took a look and no one seemed to be working on this particular problem. So, it's deceptively simple to describe. It actually took us over 5 years to implement the technology solution.
Wow.
So, well, it is a problem. It is something that dealers have been doing for decades and decades. I mean, we started with paper, then we had microfiche. Now we're doing data entry, but WarrCloud is really the first automated solution that really, brings the cost down and the scalability that we think is going to be necessary as we go forward.
Jim, you're doing great things. Your daughter is right. Nobody wants to sit in front of that green screen anymore. And that stack of paper is uncashed checks. And Jim, Roche, and by the way, this is the thing that I think you are going to be most known for in our industry, having turned the corner and made this change for the retail automotive. If our audience wants to reach out to you at WarrCloud and find out what you can do for them, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Well, I think my email address is there at the bottom. It's jim.roche@warcloud.com. Or if you choose to go to our website, there's one of those little buttons on there that says contact me, and I'll get an email, and happy to get right back. Ted, as you know, and some of the folks in the audience know, this is the only industry I've ever worked in, almost 35 years now. I love talking about this stuff and love helping dealers solve problems. So please reach out. Ted, why don't we close it off from the Roaring 20s? What do you say?
Hey, Jim, I think that's the way to go. Jim, thank you so much on behalf of the Fixed Ops community. If you want to reach out to Jim Roche, everybody, WarrCloud.com. This is WarrCloud's time, and you want to definitely be on the forefront with the technology that Jim has pioneered and brought to market. So, Jim, as always, on behalf of the Fixed Ops community, thank you for all you do for our industry.
Thank you for having me back, Ted. It's been great to talk to you again, and have a great rest of your 2022, everyone. Thank you.
Jim Roche here today, everybody, from WarrCloud at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.